So Eddie, if I'm someone who is skeptical
Yeah.
about breathwork,
Yeah.
why should I listen to us talk about it for the next hour or so?
Well, you shouldn't be skeptical because there's literally science behind it now. So, it's funny. I've had people ask me this in the last couple of months. I think I got into breathwork because of how it made me feel emotionally, right? Like feeling more regulated and feeling more calm. And now there's so much science behind it of what controlling your breath and regulating your nervous system can actually do for yourself. So, do you want me to hit you with some facts? There's honestly so many, like lowers your cortisol, gets your heart rate variability in sync with your breath. So you're kind of beating in one big sort of system, helps with anxiety, helps you fall asleep faster, so many things. And yeah, I think I got into it because of how it made me feel. But then now to be able to mix the science with like the spiritual side of it is really beautiful as well. And I think you don't know until you try it that you can actually shift your state and feel differently so quickly. I think a lot of people have in their heads, it's just hard, or like, oh, no, I'm breathing all the time. Why would I try it? But it's like, if you get rid of the mind and, as we're saying before, get rid of the ego, step it to the side and give it a try, it's pretty profound how it can make you feel so quickly. But that's just some of the facts of it. I mean, it completely got rid of my anxiety. I don't remember the last time I was anxious. It changed my whole like jaw and face shape. Like it changed my body shape. It regulated my hormones. It improved my sleep. Things that I never thought I would be able to like move on from or let go of, like really truly can bring up repressed emotions and let them go. So, and that's just not for me. I mean, some of the stories of people that have like felt such a big shift just after one session is like pretty profound, really profound. So yeah, you shouldn't be a skeptic because there's facts, you know? Yeah.
It's such a big part of your life now, and
It's
as you mentioned
everything.
there, it's had all those amazing benefits.
Yes.
With you.
Yeah.
How did it come into your life then?
So my long story sort of short, I was 17 when I tried my first breathwork session, which I'm 28 this year, so 11 years ago. And I remember the lady saying, she was in Spain, it was in Ibiza somewhere, and she said to me, people had to sign waivers for like how it's called a breakthrough breath, like a death and rebirth, pretty out there woo stuff. And I was like so young. I was like, oh yeah, I'll try it, like whatever. Or I was 18. I don't know. Maybe I was early 20s, whatever I was. And all of like the accountants and lawyers and like finance people like didn't do it. They're like, that's weird if I have to sign a waiver. Like that's crazy. I was like, oh, whatever, I'll try, like blah, blah. And I did this session. It was like I'd taken drugs. Like I was hallucinating. I was seeing things. The mat was like wet from my tears and sweat. People were laughing, screaming and shaking. It was unbelievable. And I didn't kind of go back to breathwork for maybe a couple of years after that because I feel like it probably wasn't completely the right time. And then it was my dad who actually brought it up with me again when I was 23. And he was like, Eddie, I think you should try this breathwork thing. And I listened to my dad. I respect his opinion. He's probably the opinion I care about the most, to be honest. And he said, give it a try. And at first I was a little hesitant because I wasn't really sure what he was probably talking about it. And from my other session of the death and rebirth of crying and shaking, I was like, I don't want to do that again. I was like, we don't need to do that. Anyway, I tried the session that he was doing, and it sounds a little cliche, but I just became completely obsessed. Like it instantly shifted my state within like 8 minutes or something. It was this little nervous system reset on just YouTube or something. And then I became quite obsessed and started looking all about what this breathwork thing was and started reading books, and then became qualified like a couple of months after. And it changed my life really quickly. And I started just practicing breathwork every day for like months.
You may have noticed that we've recently rebranded the podcast. The good news is that offer of a free coffee on me is still available. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to pause the podcast right now, go into YouTube, hit that subscribe button, then go over to Spotify, hit that follow button. It'll take 30 seconds of your time and it's absolutely free. And then if you see me in person and you can show me that you're following the podcast on both platforms, I'll buy you a coffee as a thank you. Thank you for continuing to support the podcast. It means the world to me. That second breathwork that you did off the back of your dad recommended it, because there are so many different ways to do breathwork. It sounds like the first one in Ibiza, that was like one of those transformational breathworks. Wim Hof style can go on for a few hours. You go on this mad journey. But we might circle back to that. Because I've done a couple of those sessions and they're amazing. Let's circle back to that one that sort of hooked you off the back of my dad recommending it. So what sort of breathwork was that little 8-minute reset? So this was like on YouTube, and it was like there's different kinds of breathing techniques. There's like your upregulating and your downregulating. And so this had like a little mix of a couple of things, and there was like a couple of breath holds and a couple of like Wim Hof sort of, but not too intense. And I just remember truly, I sat up and I was looking at my hands and I was looking at my body, and I was like, this is the first time I've ever felt connected to my body. It was the first time I ever felt properly connected and grounded and like present. It was ridiculous. Like I couldn't believe it. That like for 23 years, I've just been living my life so fucking disconnected from my body and my thoughts and my emotions and my feelings. Like so many masks, such a performance. Like I wasn't real. I wasn't authentic. I wasn't like, it was just, pretending, which a lot of us, like so many just performing, I wasn't like connected to myself. And I think if we want to become more real and as authentic as we can be, you got to take off all the masks, and we start by connecting to our breath and body. Like that's the most important thing before anything else, So after I experienced that feeling, I was like, nothing's getting in my way of feeling that again. And then I just started going to more intense breathwork sessions, which basically means you're breathing for longer amounts of time, and scientifically what happens when we do like for a certain amount of time, you're turning off your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking mind, your analytical mind. You wake up, you're like, what am I doing? So when you do that breathing technique for a certain amount of time, getting out of there and you're dropping into here, crazy stuff happens. So that experience of feeling like you were removing all those masks that you've been wearing throughout your teenage years and early 20s, like did you feel that right away after that first YouTube 8-minute breathwork? Or I would say the first thing it gave me was like, I was like, oh shit, this is my body. I'm here. I'm connected. I'm present in this moment. Like, oh, what? Like I think I was constantly not present because I was so destructive and disconnected, which I think like so many of us aren't present. We're not here. We're always thinking of the next thing. And so we're all exhausted and tired. And so the breath work brought me back to myself, brought me back to my body, like just feeling like myself breathe, or like looking at my fingertips. I was like, what? This is so crazy. So the first session was profound. And then I just kept doing it and 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 just getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it was just unbelievable. Yeah, I say this a lot, but there's my life before breath work and then after breath work. Like I'm a completely different human. In what sense? Oh my gosh. Like I think I had always told myself certain stories and certain habits or certain things that like I would never be able to change. And I would tell I'm like, no, I'm just going to be that girl. I'm just going to be that. But it's like, we can change things. We can change our limiting beliefs. We can kind of harness our mindset and our thoughts. We can, forgive people and not be the angry girl and not be the girl that does drugs or not be the girl that, gets obliterated every weekend. Like you can change that stuff. You just have to be willing to look inside. Not always easy, but, so I think I just kind of had assumed, oh, that's just the way life is. But like, and I think when you've been told for so long by society or how your parents raise you or your caregivers or things you just tell yourself, you're like, oh, that's not going to work. It won't work for me. Oh, my dad's an alcoholic, so I am too. Well, no, you can change it if you want to. It's a choice. Hard, not easy. So I think to be able to
go from like one limiting belief or one personality trait to then like literally not that. That's pretty cool and pretty empowering to be like, oh, can change this. Yeah.
What's the link between breathwork and getting rid of those limiting beliefs?
So we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. Our subconscious is what holds everything. So our thoughts, our habits, our limiting beliefs, our emotions, the things that we push down that we don't want to feel. How do we push it down? We might drink too much. We might eat too much. We might exercise too much. We might not exercise. We might control our eating. We might have toxic relationships. We might do drugs. We might go on social media and just all the things that I do and still do. Like, I'm not perfect, but so all of that is in our bodies, right? And until we make the unconscious conscious, how the frick can you change anything? It's really hard. You can absolutely do your affirmations and you can look yourself in the mirror and be like, I can do it. Like, I'm not, and journal. Like, all those things are beautiful modalities. But something that's it's harder, but it's a lot bloody simpler. Is go deep inside of your psyche and your subconscious mind and your body. And one of the really good ways to do that is through breath work. It's quite somatic, you know, you're dropping out of your heads into your hearts and you can release and move stuff through.
Somatic's one of these words when I talk about...
Skeptical?
No. It's, I'm actually not sure what it means. What does it mean, somatic? Like, I hear it all the time when it comes to breath work.
Body.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, you got to move, you got to breathe. So like, I can say you're my psychologist right now and I'm like, Chris, I feel really anxious. And you're like, okay, let's talk about the anxiety. And I'm like, well, I'm anxious because this boy said this message on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. Okay. You cannot, maybe surface level you can't talk your way out of feeling different. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. Maybe you can do it like a pep talk and like surface level do it. Sure. I'm feeling anxious. Okay, well, you're not feeling anxious. You got this. You're a boss bitch. Do your journals. I love myself. Yeah. Great. Surfacely, maybe for a little while you'll get through for sure. But our anxiety and our pain and our sadness and our grief and our trauma, it's in our bodies, not just the mind. So go deeper, you know. I think talk therapy is beautiful and I think talking to someone is great, but I want to go deeper than that. I want to get it out of my body and I want to change my state and I want to release these emotions that have a grip on me so that I can start to change. So it's like the iceberg, Titanic. Make this stuff conscious, bring it up to the surface and then let it go. You're a different person. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even this morning, I just did a breath work and I was like, guys, people hadn't done it before. And I'm like, the beautiful yet slightly uncomfortable and confronting thing about breath work is that we are kind of like simmering all this stuff in our bodies and we're bringing it up to the surface. And we do that through the breath. Yes, it's uncomfortable. What do you want me to say? Why are you here then? Like, you know, yes, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's confronting. But when you bring it up, so all the anxiety, all the pain, all the grief, if you look at it bad or good, whatever, and then letting it go.
Yeah.
So much easier said than done. Like, I'm not saying this is easy. It's really hard. But my God, the people's like faces and eyes and bodies when they are able to release and have a good cry.
It's incredible.
There's no better feeling.
It's interesting. It's like, it's one of the only modalities that makes me cry.
Because you're out of here.
Yeah. I don't cry a lot.
Yeah.
And every time I do a particular type of breath work, like the CCB, conscious connected breathing type of breath work, it always brings something up. I don't necessarily know what it brings up, but I always get a release and I always cry. Like, what's going on when that's happening?
Well, I just think you're out of your mind and whatever you're holding is just coming out of the body. Whether it's through liquid coming out of your eyeballs, whether it's through sweating, whether it's through your body needing to shake. Doesn't matter as long as you get it out. I think people would probably be like, no, you should know what's coming out and why. I don't know, if you're in a safe space and you feel safe enough to be able to cry or to shake or to scream or to make noises, as long as when that session is done that you feel safe and integrated, I don't really care why you're crying.
I always feel amazing after.
Yeah, it's regulate. You're regulating yourself when you cry. I cry all the time. I cried this morning on the way to work because I had a huge week of work and I was like, I just had tears coming down my face and then I wiped the tears and I went to work.
Yeah.
I do it all, like I truly do it all the time. I think there was a new study that came out of like crying releases oxytocin or something.
Probably.
Like what the hell? But we're all trying to, I'm fine.
Keep it all. Just
Grip tighter. I'm like, oh, do less. Let go. Give it up. You know?
I've heard you mention before, Eddie, that you work with clients one-on-one.
Yes.
And one pattern that you've noticed is during some of these more intense breathwork sessions, men tend to cry and women tend to release a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Why,
Yes.
like, what's going on there? Like,
oh, I think it'll make me cry thinking about men cry because I just had a beautiful man cry just in the breathwork earlier. And it was like, it literally, I couldn't look at his face because I would have started crying. But it was just, I think men have been raised to like, you know, all that classic kind of social conditioning of like, get on with it, you know, be a man or, you know, depending on if they had a father figure or if they didn't have like, there's so many like things. So I don't do one-on-ones anymore, but when I did do one-on-ones, I would notice that the men just wanted to like cry and just like bawl their eyes out. And women were really angry, had this like sacred rage in their stomachs, you know? And I think we don't need to get into why women are angry, but I think, again, there's so many things like when women were, you know, be a good girl, it's all right, don't be crazy. So they kind of, you know, this is an interesting story. When I was a nanny, I was a full-time nanny and I dropped out of school at like 14. I went straight into becoming a full-time. I love kids, can't wait to be a mum. And little baby Arabella, she was 9 months old and we were at Conscious Play in Cremorne. And this is such a cool story and I just love it. It's so fucking interesting. And I went to the bathroom and because she was at Conscious Play, I would go to the bathroom by myself. Usually if I'm just me and her, she's coming with me everywhere, right? Anyway, she used to call me like mum at the end of like the day and stuff. Like we were very close. Like I'm so love. And I went to the bathroom and I knew she would start crying, Arabella. So she started crying. And I was through the bathroom, like the wall that she was, and I was like, it's okay. Don't cry. You know, you're trying to simmer. Anyway, saw her, Arabella, she's fine. Give her a big cuddle. She's crying, tears on my neck. I'm like, oh, I love you. And then the lady says to me, she goes, never tell her that it's okay. And I'm like, what? She was like, you can't tell her that it's okay because it's not for her. She's bawling her eyes out and she doesn't know if you're coming back. And you telling her that it's okay and it's okay, stop crying. She is then from that age suppressing her stuff, right? Which is crazy. Like, so from that age, she is suppressing her emotions, right?
Yeah, right.
And so she said to me, tell her, I can hear you. I hear you, I understand. And then you just let her cry and do her thing. And then when she's done, you just get back to it. Now think of being a little girl or a little boy and being told when your subconscious and your limiting beliefs and your habits and everything's being formed from a young age, it's okay, don't cry.
Gaslighting
it's okay.
the little kid.
Yeah, you're telling them just to like swallow their pain. So like, you know, when I got to 14, I was like, don't be crazy, don't cry. It's all right. What's wrong? Get over it. Well, then when I get to being like a teenage woman, and I feel anxiety and what am I doing with that? I'm pushing it back down. And so I think we've got to be really careful what we're saying to like little kids and people because that's where they start shaping themselves as people. I just thought that was such an interesting thing. It's like, don't tell her it's okay. She doesn't know if it's okay or not because she's crying. That's her reality and her experience, you know? So ever since then, I don't say it.
This podcast is sponsored by Chief Nutrition. And good news, podcast listeners get 10% off all Chief products using the link in the show notes. Chief offer protein powders, collagen protein bars, organic biltong, organic beef bars, and they're all fucking delicious. My personal favorite is the hazelnut brownie collagen protein bar. I have one every afternoon and it is the perfect snack. So use that link in the show notes and thank me later. Why women release a lot of anger during breathwork is that years of suppressing different things and that's getting stored in the body and then all of a sudden
and
coming up and out.
Beautiful women don't get angry. pretty women don't get angry. You know, high value women don't get angry. Well, if we think that, then we don't, you know, like anger in a good way can be really profound and beautiful, you know, healthy anger.
Before you did that first breath work with your dad, did you have any inkling? No, just trying to think, like, sometimes you get that little voice in the back of your head that sort of tells you, you know, everything's not all right in here, but it's a soft voice, and you probably just go, shut up, little voice, everything's fine. I live in Sydney, the weather's sunny, I can go to the beach whenever I want. I'm just trying to think, did you, before you had that session with your dad, was there like a little voice in the back of your head that was sort of saying, Eddie, you may have some stuff trapped down here you might want to deal with?
Yeah. Not for me.
No.
I just...
Like you were ignorant, you were like, you didn't know.
Like probably, but I didn't, even if I was scared, I think timing is everything. And I think there was obviously breathwork coming into my life and doing those sessions at a certain time. I was just so ready for it. So yes, there may have been a voice of like, you know, and that's the mind kind of trying to keep us safe, you know. So like, it's good sometimes if we're in danger and there's a tiger chasing us, but most of the time there's not, you know. So I think to be able to just keep breathing, as I say in the sessions, like just keep breathing and telling yourself like, I can do this. Or even if there's not thoughts, it's just, you just gotta, I hate using the word push through because it's quite masculine, but you do. And also, I didn't like, there was no other option for me. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel different. So I would have done anything, you know?
What had you tried before breathwork?
Oh my God, everything. Literally everything, anything you can think of, I'd tried it. And breathwork was the only thing that really I was like, oh, whoa, this is like quickly making me feel different. EFT, meditation, hypnosis, talk therapy, prescription medication, like honest, like literally anything you can think of, I tried it.
What's EFT?
EFT is emotional freedom tapping, which is amazing. You tap on like certain meridian points.
A bit like kinesiology?
No, kinesiology is like muscle testing, I think, where it's like, again, though, it's all similar in the sense of like it's focusing on your body and it's focusing on your like your energetic field. So very different to like talk therapy. And all these modalities are beautiful. You do whatever works for you, but for me it was breath work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if I am someone, Eddie, who might have that little voice in the back of their head at the minute and they are aware that there might be some repressed or suppressed feelings, might be a bit of anger, there might just be some trauma trapped in the body that they've not faced or dealt with before, and they're listening to this and thinking, hey, that might work for me, like I would like to explore some of that. I sort of am getting that little bit of voice, like what would be your advice to them? Like, what should if they want to try breath work, like what should that first session maybe look like? Like how should they enter the world of breath work if they want to explore?
I think the first thing is like if you're feeling like an inkling or you're having the thought of wanting to try it, that's great. Like it's really difficult to force these modalities on people. Like I think there has to be a certain, maybe you're divinely guided. Like I really believe everything has a time and place. And so the people that have the inkling of wanting to try breath work, that's like the first step in all of it. Because you're kind of telling your body and mind, okay, I'm going to try this new thing. And hey, you might come to one and you might hate it. And then I might not see you again for like 5 months, and then you'll come back again and then you'll bawl your eyes out. You might come for the first session and then like bawling your eyes out and it's amazing. Or I've had clients that have like attended all of that, like maybe 10, and only on the 11th or 12th, they're like, oh my God, I could feel sadness. I could feel emotions. I'm like, yes, we're peeling back the onion on the, there's so many layers to the human psyche, you know? We're pretty complicated little beings. But I think the first step is like, if you have curiosity about it, that's actually all you need. I'll do the rest. In the sense of like holding the space and guiding you through the different techniques, you know?
But to the extent that there are lots of different types of breath work that you can do to, you know, you can do a breath work before bed to make you sleep better. You can do a breath work before or after a workout to help with your
performance,
recovery.
your lung capacity.
But like
There's so many.
I'm talking about like if you wanted to sort of delve into some of that deeper stuff, like what sort of breath work would you recommend first?
What sort of breath work would I recommend first? Well, I guess to get super specific, the breathing technique of like the upregulating breath, that is obviously going to kind of stir stuff up, and that's where you're turning off your prefrontal cortex. So that specific breathing technique is what's going to go in the iceberg into that deeper subconscious where everything's held. But, you know, my sessions like really different. Like they're not just one technique for anxiety or one technique for sleep. Like it's kind of all of these techniques into one, and then you sort of see, I guess, what you need. And that's the other thing is like the body is so intelligent and so wise. If we're even just to be able to get out of the head for just 5 minutes or the whole 50 minutes, as long as you feel a bit different, you feel like your state has shifted, you know, you might come to the session and feel nothing, and then you get in your car and you bawl your eyes out, or, you know, you sleep amazing that night, or like dropping out of the mind and then into the body. The body knows what you need. Maybe you don't need to come and bawl your eyes out. Maybe you just need to come and feel part of a community and have a bit of a rest from like your intrusive, crazy, overthinking mind. Or maybe like, you know, do you know what I mean? Like it depends. It really does depend on where you're at and what your body needs. And so everyone's traumas and nervous systems and bodies and stress and backgrounds and environments are so different. So I can't say that it's like, this is what you have to do. If you have curiosity and you're open to it, come join.
Lean into like the different.
Absolutely. Lean in. Openness and curiosity is what you need for breath work. And I think it's what you need for a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know? There's just like a little bit of openness. Well, I might try this. I might lean in, give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of stuff on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You could maybe just lean in, try one of those like mellow.
Yeah, like maybe
5 minutes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like specifically. Yeah, you could just literally on YouTube, like, you know, 5 minutes downregulating breath work and just try it and see how different you feel. I still like shock myself. Like my sister, we just got back from the city and I was running like for a sales conference for like 350 people, right? And we were like, you know, taking through different breathing techniques and waking up the lymphatics and all that kind of stuff. And it still like blows me away that just like 5 minutes of, you know, consciously breathing or consciously shaking up and down completely changes your state. The amount of people that came up to me and were like, wow, I really needed that. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like I forget because I'm just always talking about breath work, and I forget that people don't do this every day and don't do what I do every day, which is fine, but you do forget that. And they go, wow, I felt so different. I'm like, wow, this shit works. It really works, you know?
So people who might not have tried breathwork before or, you know, looked into it at all, they're not going to know what upregulating and downregulating necessarily means. So what upregulating and downregulating?
So upregulating is kind of like stuff that's going to consciously bring you in like your sympathetic nervous system. So it's like Wim Hof, as you were saying, like a lot of men like that sort of, it's because it's a bit more intense, a bit more masculine, you know, you get lightheaded and you tingles, and then down-regulating is anything that's going to bring you into your parasympathetic. So it's going to bring you into that rest and digest. So we've got two systems. We've got fight or flight, sympathetic, rest and digest are parasympathetic. Over here is like the goodie side. I think of like the ocean, nice and blue. And over here is like fire and it's hot and it's red. But over here, we want to be in this state like 85% of our lives, which is crazy because I know I'm definitely not.
So this is the more chilled out
This is the rest and digest, our parasympathetic. So, you know, but again, this is great, the sympathetic, for like when I'm doing talks in front of 300 people or when you're here interviewing me, like you can't really be like, yeah, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so tired. You need to be in this sometimes for sure. But our baseline, we want to be calm, regulated. We do operate better when we're calm and regulated. So they're kind of, I guess, the two gears that you sort of shift in and out of, especially when you're consciously breathing. So when you're going, you're getting upregulated, you're getting into your sympathetic. We're doing it on purpose. We're like in that stress response, right? We're getting you into your fight or flight, but in a conscious, healing, safe way. Whereas like most of the time we're getting into that state unconsciously through traffic or, you know, someone scrolling or someone annoys you or you get triggered. It's like, we want to have less of that. And so to have less of that, you need to come back to your body and to your breath and find a state of sort of coherence and balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about upregulating first then. So
Mm.
what are some scenarios where I would want to upregulate and try and get into that sympathetic nervous system?
Yeah. Such a good question, because I think I'll give an example. If you are someone, I'll just compare myself and my sister. So my middle sister, Sophie, is definitely someone that maybe wakes up in the morning and probably struggles to get out of bed and to like get it going. Myself, I'm like, woo, like I'm already kind of there, right? So there's different pros and cons for that one, as you can probably tell. So someone like me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, woo, I probably need to do some box breath and calm it down. You know what I mean? Whereas someone like Sophie probably needs to do a bit of shake, get up and down, like jump up and down. You know what I mean? To kind of balance out how your system and how your state is when you wake up. I'm just using wake up and as an example.
Yeah.
So like upregulating, like, you know, if you're feeling 3 p.m. slump.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Instead of a coffee, that's my favorite one. I'll do that. I did it on the way here while I was drinking my coffee.
Yeah,
I was like,
nice.
So double inhale through the nose and then a big exhale out of the mouth. It's called physiological. So it's like, and get the shoulders into it. Yeah, again. You do that like 5 or 10 times. You're there.
And that's you getting into your sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah, getting up.
And what, like you're more focused,
Totally.
you've got a bit of energy about you. If we're going to sit and chat about
heart
breathwork
rate,
for an
blood
hour,
pressure.
you're focused, you're
absolutely
locked in.
Yeah. So, but you know, this is the thing. It does. They're like such beautiful generic baseline techniques that you can do, and then also like it really does depend on like what kind of you know, human you are. Like if you really struggle to wake up and just like meditate in the mornings, probably doing some upregulating breath work and then going into meditation is probably going to help. Does that make sense? Like we need to change our physiological state before we can kind of do all those other things. So like to check in with yourself of what breath work technique or what you need. Like when I had that event in the city, I was so tired on that third day. And so like I needed to jump up and down and like do some sighs and like do some like body rolls, qigong stuff. Whereas like the first day, I literally needed to calm down because I had so much energy. You know what I mean?
But something you said there seemed a bit counterintuitive to me. Like if I wanted to meditate in the morning, why would I want to upregulate and get into that sympathetic nervous system? I would have assumed that if I wanted to meditate, I'd want to downregulate and be nice and calm and relaxed before I meditated.
Yes. So that's a good question. So the thing is that majority of people, like for example, using an example, when you wake up in the mornings, do you think you could just sit and meditate?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really rare. I don't know anyone that people that can do that. So you're super calm in the mornings.
Yeah. Oh. Alarm goes off at 6. I sit up and meditate for 20 minutes.
Do you do any sort of breath work or anything, or you just literally sit?
No, it's Vedic meditation. So you just like sit up and just
amazing.
Like, focus on your mantra.
So good. Okay, well, we won't use you as an example then, because majority of people are waking up and they are like in that fight or flight. Like they are quite kind of, the mind is racing, bit wired, bit anxious. And so I find that like if our state is like that, we sort of need to check in with what sort of breath work technique we can use. And to do that, we need to come back to our breath and body and connect to ourselves, you know? And so you probably connect to yourself by doing meditation, the Vedics. And then you can be like, after that, okay, do I need to go for a run? Do I need to journal? Do I need to, like, you can kind of check in, like you sort of got yourself like a little mind map. Most people aren't super connected to themselves. You know what I mean? We wake up, we're checking the phone, or we wake up and we're doing like our high intensity workout that we've done that we probably don't need to do. You know what I mean? So when I say to do a certain breathing technique, for me, because I wake up with so much energy most of the time, maybe there's a bit of sighing, there's a bit of shaking, there's a bit of downregulating technique. I need to kind of just shift my state before I can just go into meditation. But that's me personally.
Yeah, okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. And is that upregulating, is that a better way of getting into your body than downregulating?
I think so.
Okay. Cool.
That's my opinion.
So
but you could do a little mix. Like it doesn't have to be so like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as a...
You can tell I'm a bit of a
You're a
type
man.
of guy, yeah.
Yeah, you're a man. You're like, and so what exact technique do you do with this? And I'm like, for me, it's like I check in with my breath and my body. Yeah. So it might not be a specific technique for a specific amount of time. It might not be upregulating. It might be downregulating. I'll do whatever I need to do to connect to my breath and body, and then I can kind of go about my day. So like if I'm waking up, and usually back in the day, it would just be like, you know, it would be like F45 and Barry's boot camp every morning. But then when I started slowing down my nervous system and relaxing my body and not walking around like I'm a man or being chased by a tiger, you just relax and you're like, probably don't need to do Barry's boot camp for the 8th time in a row. Probably need to do some journaling or give myself a cuddle or cry. You know what I mean? Women are so different. But do you know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's just like a bit more intuitive, less rigid. Make your morning routines less rigid, I guess. Yeah.
I think there's an element there, though. I think you're probably very in tune with your body.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people probably aren't.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to say, in the sense of like, because so many of us are disconnected to our bodies and we're not sure what we need, let's peel it back and just do a little bit of breathing before to check in. Do you know what I mean? And so a lot of people, I obviously predominantly work with women, but they'll do like, I'll be like, just try this. And then they're like, oh, I just get so tired after it. And I'm like, well, you get so tired after it because you are constantly operating in fight or flight. You're constantly shoulders up like you're being chased by a tiger. So when you do a little bit of slow breathing, you're exhausted, right? My dad would say this. He said to me, he's like, healing is exhausting. I'm like, yeah, healing makes you tired because you're operating from that fight or flight, that sympathetic, and coming into your rest and digest. So can you imagine coming out of that gear, like, to shift into this gear? Of course you're going to be tired. I remember after my like intense breath works I just started doing by myself when I was becoming obsessed, I'd fall asleep in a little ball for like an hour after. Like, so healing, so regulating. Like the way people sleep after my events, they're like, I literally didn't move. I slept like a baby. That's amazing. You know, to be able to just like slow down. Or like, even for me, if I get like a massage, then my voice is not so up here. It's like my voice is deeper and I'm breathing from my stomach. And that's a better way to sort of operate in day-to-day life. You know, even when I'm making breakfast and my shoulders up, I'm like, whoa, relax. Like, you're not in a rush, you know?
Yeah. And that comes back to your point around, you probably want to be in the parasympathetic for about 85% of the time. 15% of the time, it's probably good to be in sympathetic and up and about. So the examples that you've given, I think, are really good. So if you're someone who struggles to get out of bed in the morning, or you're someone who has that 3 p.m. slump and you want to stop reaching for the coffee and the sweets to get you through that last part of the day.
Kind of fake energy. Yeah.
Some of that upregulating breathwork might work.
Yes.
Where else would it be good? I'm thinking maybe in relation to training.
Yeah. To increase like our lung capacity and like open up our diaphragm. Like a lot of that, even where you can add some jumps into it for sure. Yeah, to kind of increase your lung capacity, basically open up your rib cage and your diaphragm. In the breath work I just did, we did a breath hold like first at the beginning, and then we did another one after we'd obviously done fast breathing and open up. And it's crazy how much you can hold your breath. I'm sure you've done it, right? Like increasing your lung capacity, your carbon dioxide levels, actually feeling oxygen from the crown of your head to your feet, not just like here. We want to open it up, right? You can do, it's called coherence breath, in for 5, out for 5. In and out of the nose. I don't scientifically, so don't ask me the science question. I don't scientifically know why it has to be 5 minutes, but anything more or less is kind of the same effect. But for 5 minutes, if you breathe in for 5 and out for 5, which is like 6 breaths per minute, I believe. So slow and low from the tummy, as, you know, long and slow as you can. When you do that for 5 minutes, you are syncing your heart rate variability. You're syncing that with your breathing. So when you do that, you're kind of sort of creating a flow state with yourself. So that flow state lasts 4 to 6 hours. You release oxytocin, you lower your cortisol. Like, that's unbelievable for 5 minutes. What? Like, that's crazy to me that you can just breathe in and out of the nose for 5 minutes, in for 5, out for 5. And you can change so much stuff inside of your body. And when you change your body and your state, up here is going to be different. The thoughts are going to be different with what happens after, you know? So it's like, change the body and the state first.
Yeah.
Then go to the next stuff.
So if you've done that 5-minute breath work that you've just described,
Yeah.
what would be a good thing to do after that then? Like
Get on with your day.
Just anything.
That is like the MVP. MVP?
Yeah.
What does that stand for again?
Most valuable player person.
Let's call it MVB. Most valuable breath work. That is like the top. If there is a technique to give, or anyone that's skeptical, anyone that's like, I don't know, do that for me every morning for a week and then come talk to me. It's unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure you've got a recorded guided one of those on Spotify.
I do. Yes, I do. So there you go. You guys can try it. You can try it for free. There you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
In for 5, out for 5. It literally syncs your heart rate variability with your breathing. So we're not separate. We're kind of beating in one big system, you know? And you create that flow state for yourself. And that's what my dad said to me. He was like, I can't believe how I am looking at the world and my stress and my problems and my interactions. Like, I am just over here, like, witnessing it happen. I am not reacting. I am just responding and letting it kind of hit off me. Does that make sense? And that's a very powerful place to be in, when you're not reacting to life, when you're just kind of letting it respond and you're flowing through it. And so coherence breath is like, they call it, there's like the heart math, like the heart science behind it. Like, that's so cool. Increases your REM sleep. Like, what the hell?
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be like the one technique, if like anyone that's skeptical, to definitely try that.
Yeah. So let's circle back to the question earlier on. That could be the gateway into breathwork. Yeah. If you're a bit skeptical,
just try that. And, you know, try it and do it. Like, just do it 3 mornings in a row and then like give me a call. Let me know how you feel.
I hate when podcasts get interrupted by a long ad read, so I'm going to keep this one short. If you'd like to trial a virtual assistant for absolutely free for 2 weeks, go to our sponsor's website, www.remoti.com.au/contact, and enter the code MOMENTS. Someone from the team will get in touch with you. That's a virtual assistant for absolutely free for 2 weeks to do all those jobs you don't want to do. The sponsor's website address and that promo code are in the show notes. Thank you. All right, let's talk downregulating then. So this downregulating is when we are maybe in a high cortisol, high stress state,
before sleep, I
bit
reckon.
of anxiety.
Yes.
How can breath work help us there?
Yeah. So one of my favorite techniques is the 2-1 breath. So I'll breathe in for 4 and then I'll blow out for 6. I do that before I go to sleep most nights. I feel like most people struggle to sleep, and it's usually because their mind is keeping them up, so their cortisol is spiked. That is a perfect one to do before you go to sleep. So I think of or like, if, you know, feeling nervous and you got butterflies, maybe do a couple of rounds of that sort of technique, or just box breath, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold on the exhale. That's a beautiful technique too. I think anything where the mind feels a little bit loud, go to one of those techniques. But again, it can also be the upregulating too. Do you see what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be so, you know, like rigid. And as you do more breath work and you connect more to your body, you kind of know what you need. You can kind of pick it out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think downregulating is brilliant. Probably the biggest one is probably before sleep, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another example.
Before meetings, great. Like, if you're on a Zoom call and you're like, okay, yeah, I think box breath is great. I feel like it improves the sort of clarity and the focus. And
so if you've got an important presentation at work, and you want to just relax instead of taking like a beta blocker or something like that a lot of people do, like that breathing technique.
Absolutely.
What about sort of dealing with low levels of stress or anxiety throughout the day? So you get a shitty email from a client or your manager, or you've had a weird interaction with someone at work which left you feeling a bit anxious and stressed. Are those good ones to turn to as well?
Absolutely brilliant. I say as well, there's like a so like there's obviously a difference between anxiety in the sense of like when the mind is really loud, and then like physical anxiety. So what I say to my clients is that if you can kind of feel that lump in your throat, butterflies in your tummy, I would go with the sniff sighs, like somatically try to get it out, like the and shake your body, jump up and down for 15 seconds. And then, so if that anxiety is there and you feel that brick sitting on your chest, it's hard to do like slow breath, like sleeping, like that's kind of hard if it's already there, right? So I would shake and move to get it out and then come into some slow breath. But I feel like before a meeting, you're feeling pretty good, but you just kind of need to kind of check out of the mind, just come into some slow breath. 2-1 breath, box breath is brilliant. But I would say if you feel those physical sensations, shake, move, make sounds. I do this me and my sister and I, we were just literally this and we're like just making sounds. And like, I just don't care. I do it in public and people might think I'm a bit strange, but at least I'm regulated, somewhat regulated.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm really interested, Eddie, in like all, like, you can tell by the way I'm sort of asking these questions. I'm really interested in all the different types of breath works. And I love how you can do something for 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes and have a really profound impact on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
But I'm also really fascinated by these, I don't know what you call it, transformational breath work, conscious connected breathing. It sounds like the thing that you did in Ibiza as well. And it's a much more intense journey, probably when you're trying to dig stuff up that's maybe been trapped in the body for a very long time. You need to get that up and out of your body. That was my gateway into breathwork. I was going through I had a really bad breakup and I was going through a really shit time.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you. And someone said to me, hey, I'm going to do this breathwork thing. Do you want to come along?
Where was it?
And I did. It was in Bondi.
Who was it?
Renee Kirkman.
Yep. I know who she is. Yep.
Yeah. So it was Renee and it was about 3 years ago or so. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for. It was like, the whole event was about 3 hours long. You know, you just go into this room. It's really well set out with mats and pillows and everyone's like setting intentions beforehand. And then you do this guided breath work. I think it was one of those breath works, conscious connected breathing. Do you get into your sympathetic then to go all the way into your parasympathetic? Is that?
Yeah, you are, so the conscious connected is like in and out of the mouth, but it's not forceful. It's like, you do that for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you are bringing yourself into your sympathetic, and that's where this happens.
Tetany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for what Eddie did there, for people who may be listening to this and not watching on video, if you do that type of breathing, it was just described for like a very long time, your fingers start to curl in and your arms start to come up and you have little T-Rex.
It's crazy.
Arms.
Yes.
Yeah, but my experience of that, there was a room, there was quite a lot of us. There was about 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't want more than 20, Mike.
No, it was a lot. And I think, something you said at the very start of the episode, you've got 20 people in a room who are all coming from a very different place and are all dealing with their own shit. So
you have to be so careful.
What I found crazy was like my initial outburst of emotion was just me bursting out laughing. But at the same time, someone at the very left side of the room was screaming.
Yeah.
Someone at the very right side of the room was like bawling their eyes out.
Yeah.
I transitioned eventually from like hysterical laughter into just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Eventually, but interested to know about, like, these are quite profound experiences.
Yeah, very.
Interested to know about like your experience doing that sort of breath work.
Yeah. I don't like to run sessions like that for events. I think it has its time and place. But I've done lots of them myself. And they're crazy. They're crazy. I mean, they're unbelievable. The fact that you can access that through just breathing, no plant medicine or anything like that is unbelievable. It's very cool. And I think it takes a certain type of person that wants to go there. And it's not for everyone, I would say. So they kind of call that like the death and rebirth. So I've done 3-hour ones and I just did with one other a one-on-one. I would never do that with multiple people. Absolutely not. No way. And I started like hallucinating and seeing like skulls and pictures, and it was just crazy. I was like, I left and I was like, what just happened? I was like, I don't know what happened. Look, I have my opinion on that. I think there's a time and place for it. I think if your soul is calling and you get that little whisper and you get that curiosity to lean in, go for it. I don't think you need that regularly. I think what I would want regularly is more just tools and modalities that can kind of get you being as present and calm in the mundane things. Like when you're making breakfast with your girlfriend and you just, let's just be calm and take a breath here. Like, but you know, depending on where you're at, some people need that really intensity. I mean, my first session, I just was like wailing, like just screaming and bawling my eyes out. And there wasn't even like visuals. There wasn't even thought experiences. It was just body. It was just out. And you do feel amazing after. But there is that stuff that I think people don't talk enough about of after you have those experiences. Like, I don't know about for you, but there is this kind of spaciousness where it used to be maybe like it was full with like, you know, your anxiety and your fear and like your limiting belief. And then you're like, oh, like I'm not responding like this anymore. Or like I don't feel the need to drink anymore. Or like, hey, that guy's not triggering me anymore. Like it's weird, that kind of interim when you're sort of maybe leveling up into a different version of yourself, or when you're sort of you know, trying to be a better version of you and you've released so much. There is that beautiful integration leeway interim space, which is can actually be really uncomfortable because you're probably so used to operating in a certain way that when you kind of release that like people identify that like they're almost addicted to their trauma, or they're like they wallow in their sadness, you know? So when you remove that, it's like, eek.
Yeah, who am I without holding all these grudges that I'm been holding on to for a very long period of time?
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I've let some of that go through this really intense breathwork journey.
Yeah.
That I've been on.
Brilliant.
Oh, this is uncomfortable. Like that person's, as you said, that person's no longer triggering me. Why am I not thinking about that thing as much anymore?
It's so weird. I never thought I would be anyone that would ever stop drinking alcohol. Like I was like, we would drink so much, like every weekend, every day. Like I just never thought that would be a thing. I remember once I was like in psychology with a psychologist, talk therapist, and she was like, why don't you just talk therapy? And she's like, why don't you just try going to this event and having 2 drinks? I remember just being like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't do that. Like, that's crazy. And now with breath work, like I don't remember the last time I was like drunk. Maybe like a year ago. Like, it's just, that's, you know?
I know exactly what you're
I just never thought I would be that kind of woman. And I think that feels really powerful to know that like if there's anyone out there that's like, well, no, that's just the way I am, or like it's like, I promise you, if you can come with a bit of lenience and openness and curiosity, you really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Northern Ireland. Started drinking when I was 13.
There we go.
But I've not had a drink in 2.5 years.
Is that since you found breathwork as well? Similar time?
It was more, I think it was more the meditation, to be honest with you.
You got to find your thing, right?
Yeah. It was more the meditation, definitely downstream of that. So I think it was 6 months after I'd been meditating consistently twice a day, every day. I just was like, no, I'm kind of done with this. And I was a massive binge drinker. I was like, I would never have a drink like through the week. I was like, it's either 0 or 10. Like 2, fuck off. Doesn't. Yeah. Well, we're going to Ravisi's and we're having 10, or we're going to Bikini Bar and we're having 10.
That's now that I can zoom out and I'm like, I don't really drink much. Bit controversial. Anyone that feels the need to get like obliterated every weekend, like what's wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
I don't need to disassociate from my life anymore because I like my life. I like myself. I like what's underneath this skin. I like my brain and my thoughts. So I don't need to take anything or to go anywhere else. I don't need a break from my life because I like it. So it's a bit scary. Like, you know, but they need, like, that was me. I was like holding onto the drink, and it was like, it would never not be an empty drink. And it was like, you know, it was just always about altering and not being here in my body because I didn't like my life. I didn't like myself, you know? So I think that in itself is like, oh, why am I drinking every weekend? Or why am I doing drugs? Or why do I keep letting that person treat me like that? Like, there's obviously something. And, you know, I used to have people say, one of my old friends, she would say to me, she's like, it's not that deep. I'm like, it is. It actually is. It actually is that deep. And how much would you like out of this life? Because we're not here for that long. And I would rather go deep. I'd rather go really, really deep to feel and experience and face my things and my pains and my thought-provoking tendencies and habits so I can feel different. So it is that deep, you know? That's what I think anyway. And the deeper that we go with ourselves, the deeper that then I can connect with you. And as you said, like, you love doing this, like, you've got your job and then you love doing this, but like, you love doing this because it's the human interaction and the connection that two people can get by just talking about things that have probably had an effect on our lives and changes. And that's what we need. So it is that deep, you know? If you don't want to go that deep, that's fine. Don't watch the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think everything is that deep. Like, yes, I know how to have a laugh. And I actually think the reason why maybe I don't take myself that seriously and I can be light is because I've gone that deep. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where people say it's not that deep, they got heavy energy. Like, they're actually really heavy. And they say it's not that deep because they're terrified to look what's in there.
In case it is that deep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You threw out a couple of questions there. Why am I drinking so much? Why am I taking all these drugs? Why am I letting this person treat me that way?
Yeah.
Did you ever get to the bottom of those answers?
Yeah. I mean, everything, it's all around our self-worth. It's all around how much we like ourselves and how much we believe in ourselves. And like, truly, out of like all of like the work and modalities and things I've done on myself, it all comes back to your self-worth, like how much you love yourself. And I think I didn't love myself, so I would do lots of things that would disregard my body, disregard my intuition, disregard and disrespect myself. And so, yeah, that was all those things that I was, you know, but then when you start to do work on yourself and you realize where you've maybe sold yourself short, or you've neglected a little girl, a little boy inside, right? Like, my God, inner child work is so intense. So intense, so painful, so beautiful. But I think when you meet a man or a woman who loves themselves fully, that's pretty magnetic. And the reason why maybe we're doing this or that, it usually stems from like not liking who you are. That's like the deepest part. I think it's like not loving yourself. And like, I think we're all on that journey of trying to have really good self-worth and love ourselves fully, so then we can be capable of loving someone else and being present and showing up with them.
What did the inner child work look like?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, mostly just realizing where and look, we've all gone through trauma. Trauma has a big rap and a big word to it. And like, there can be trauma where it's like something really awful, and I'm sure you can think of it. And then there can be trauma where it's like, you know, my dad raised his voice at me and told me to shush, and now I don't believe that I have unconditional love. So anyone that decides to do that inner child work and goes back, you realize that a caregiver or someone has like almost always fallen short of like, you know, not meeting your emotional needs. And so going back to that is like really painful of like, oh, okay, like, but they don't, you know, your parents, I don't want to give them a bad rap. They don't mean to do it on purpose.
No, it's like you going to that girl that you're looking after saying, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. You thought you were doing something in the moment that was absolutely fine and potentially harmless.
Exactly.
Everyone's doing the best they can do.
No, that is literally
it's only
exactly.
With hindsight that you look back and go, oh,
you realize
maybe
like,
should have been done a bit differently.
Yeah. I remember, and this is like such a small example, and I don't mind sharing it. I was in year 1, And so what's that, like 8? So kind of your limiting beliefs and subconscious are sort of forming, like you're sort of shaping to be. And I remember I interrupted the teacher or something, or maybe I leant in to get it first or something like that. And she looked at me and she goes, back off, like stop, or too much or something. And that was such a big thing for me, because then growing up or coming to teenage years, you feel like you're too much. You feel like you shouldn't, so something as small as that, as a teacher, just being like, back off, you go, oh. And that was like then a kind of looping thing that would play in,
Yeah.
and it can be something as like small as that, And so I think I don't want people to be like scared of the word trauma, or like scared of going back to like when you're a little boy or a little girl. I mean, I don't want to speak, like everyone has different experiences. Like I understand that, but the inner child stuff can be really freeing and really beautiful when you go back to be like, why have I picked up that? Like, why do I feel like I'm too much? I'm not too much. Why do I feel like I need to back off and not talk? Hang on, I want to use my voice, So it's really like, it's really interesting, very painful, but very interesting to look back on it, of like how that makes sense or how that's looped through. And as I was saying before, until we make the unconscious conscious, it's hard to change your life.
This journey that you've been on, Eddie, from pre-breathwork, Eddie, to the person you are today. You said you've like cut back on the drinking, drugs, party scene.
No drugs.
Have you lost people along the way?
Yes.
How was
no
that?
friends. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah, definitely. It's people talk about this all the time on the podcasts that I listen to. When you decide to just like make different choices for yourself, you just don't hang out with the people that you used to. And it's not a bad thing. And I had to be careful, because for a while there I'm like, oh, they're not doing what I do, and they're not what? Like, I'm right, you're wrong. It's like, whoa, lady, careful. Like, careful of the ego coming in. You're not better than anyone. Like, you're just doing what's good for you. But absolutely, you realize you don't quite relate on the same things anymore, because the energy and the frequency is shifted. Yeah, it can be so lonely, but I'd rather feel how I do now than ever going back there. And when you do decide to make those different choices, or maybe be a bit cringe, or maybe, isolate yourself a little bit and go on a different trajectory, a good trajectory for a better version of you, God, love, universe, whatever you want to identify or call it, absolutely puts people in your paths. Help will come. Hope is there. I believe that. Even in the really sad, lonely times of my life, like there's always some sort of pull or some sort of hope that's there. And I'm so grateful for the people that have literally popped into my life.
You've created space for them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Eddie, you strike me as someone who is always sort of trying to understand themselves a little bit better. I imagine you probably read a lot of books. What are you reading at the minute?
You know what? I need to go back and read The Untethered Soul, because God, that's good. Have you read it? Okay. Michael Singer. Brilliant. That was great. And I also just bought one from Teal Swan. Do you know her? She's also very cool. Love Joe Dispenza. Love him. Who else do I listen to? Probably should read more. I don't read.
Do you podcast more? Or
you know what? Yes, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. Used to love Diary of a CEO. I don't listen to him much anymore.
Why not?
I don't know. It's just, I'm not sure. It does not sitting on my heart as much anymore. It used to really sit on my heart. It just doesn't sit there anymore. I don't feel it. It feels a bit whoop. Yeah, a little bit, but I think he's a lovely person. I don't know him personally, obviously. Know Thyself. I love that podcast as well.
Who does that?
I don't know his name. I just know that's the podcast.
Okay.
Know Thyself. He's brilliant. And TBM, To Be Magnetic, that's all about like rewiring the neural pathways in your brain to literally manifest, and your thoughts create your reality and stuff like that. But if I'm being super honest with you, I've been so incredibly busy with work that I'm actually not listening to a lot. And I'm actually just trying to like ground and practice what I preach and get out in nature and shake and just be here in the moment. I think when you're building a business from nothing to something, it is so all consuming that you don't want to get caught up. Don't want to forget why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes less is more. Like there's so much information out there, and sometimes you do just have to get off the phone, just be here in the moment, take a breath.
Building a business, what have you learned about yourself?
Oh my God, it's so hard. It's so hard. It brings out every wound and trigger and yucky dark shadow side that you can possibly imagine.
Hit me up. Tell me more.
Oh, freaking hell. Like, you know, talk about self-worth, right? Like I would like to think I'm a pretty confident person, and I don't fully love myself. I'm not there yet, but we're all on a journey. Like I don't think you ever get there to be like, I'm in love with myself. But, you know, it's so interesting, like when just how you let things then affect you. So like back in the day, if like that brand, I'm like, I suck. I'm like, I am a terrible person. I'm like, this is it then, you know, you start that the mind can really spiral of, like how you see yourself. And so it is like relentless every day being like, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? Like a test every day. So really character developing for myself to get to a point where you're like, anything outside of myself can happen, but I am enough and whole, whether that person chooses to work with me, whether I make that amount of money, whether I get to thousands of members, like whatever it is, you have to come back. And this is why like the breath and the body is so important. You got to come back. I'm good. I'm whole. Whatever happens on the outside of me doesn't dictate how I see myself. So when you're starting a business from scratch, that's just thrown at you like 158 million times a day because it's all you're doing. Yeah. It's very hard, but like amazing. So worthwhile at the same time. It's like the spectrum, you know?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
How long have you been? How long's the business been going?
I've had a business for 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yep. 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It all happened very like quickly, you know?
What's been the biggest like mistake you've made along the way that you've learned from? Let's turn it into a positive. What's been the biggest thing? What's been the biggest learning opportunity that you've had?
That's a good question. Probably just, I don't know if I've made any really big like mistakes without sounding, I think you have to throw spaghetti at walls and just see what sticks. And I think something that I feel like I do is I just kind of insert myself into situations and then figure it out, if that makes sense. So I don't, the hardest bit is just starting. Like it's really hard. It's really hard because you're like, I'm not good enough. If you can just like throw yourself in there and then figure it out, I feel like there's less self-sabotaging and there's less kind of like, there's less, I don't want to look back and be like, I wish I did that. I don't have that because I've done it. I've just gone, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
Like I will literally just dive in the deep end and all of a sudden they're like, oh, how did you do this? I'm like, I don't really know, but I've done it. And I've just kind of inserted myself in there. And sure, you look back and go, okay, I probably didn't need to buy that. Probably didn't need to do that. Probably should have gone there, of course. But I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's just like, I can only learn because I've done it. And that's cool. And that's like that. What's that guy? Alex Hormozy. How he says like, you know, I don't want just like intuition and like self-belief. I want proof, like stacks of proof. I love that. He's such a man. Like it's great. I love that. But like, I agree with that in the sense of like, insert yourself and just go for it and then figure it out, because the figuring it out bit is what's going to make you more wise, you know, more intelligent, more confident, because you can figure it out. And it's like, it's difficult, but it's like so worthwhile, because then you are expanding your capacity and expanding your resilience to stress and expanding your sort of nervous system of what you can carry. Like wow, like the version of me a year ago, I never thought that I could like do what I'm doing now, but you just kind of do it and then you go me.
Dealing with adversity, building resilience, building proof points, all builds confidence, right?
Yeah. And that's cool. Like I think that's the point.
I had a really interesting guest on the podcast during the week there. Irish guy. He was a nurse. He cycled all the way from Ireland to Australia.
Wow.
Through 28 countries, 30,000 kilometers in total. And one of the things he said to me that stuck with me was the version of him that left Ireland 2 years ago. That version of him wasn't someone who was capable of cycling from Ireland to Australia.
Yeah.
He became that person along the way.
Yeah.
So as you're saying, inserting yourself into situations, leaning into the discomfort, you build those proof points and you eventually become that person.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, wait.
Scared.
Well, they wait until they feel ready to be that person before starting the thing, before starting the business, starting the podcast, starting the e-commerce business online.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta fucking get into it, right?
Like I don't think there's really another option. Like I didn't have any proof of what was going to happen 2 years when I started this business, but you just do it, and
you fuck up along the way,
all
and
the time.
you just go, okay, that didn't work. We'll just pivot slightly.
Pivot. I love that word, pivot. I love the word pivot because it's so true. You have to, and also, I think I don't like the word. I don't like the saying like fake it till you make it. I don't think I'm faking it. I am just, fake it till you make it. Like act confident, and then it will happen. I'm not sure we're faking it, but I think I'm just, as we were saying, like you're just inserting yourself and seeing what happens. And inserting yourself, you do believe in yourself. Then there's got to be a little bit of something, right? Like that's backing you, and whether that's like an old version of you that's pushing you, whether that's the higher version of you, whether that's if you believe in something bigger than yourself, like just go for it. As my dad says, like don't think, just do, which is true, you know, because then you do it and you're like, oh my God, it wasn't that scary. Yeah. It's not a big deal.
I'm onto this new thing that's far more scary now.
Far more scary. Like so scary, you know? Like that is, it's so true. And there's levels and there's capacities and there's things that you can handle and not handle. And then, you know, like, oh, it's stressful and it's hard, but like.
We're problem solvers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're adaptable and we're problem solvers. We love to solve problems.
Exactly. What else am I going to do? Just be like, it's not that deep and just frolic through life, not feeling anything. Like how boring.
Correct.
What a waste.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Eddie, what does the rest of 2026 look like for you? Personally, business-wise, like hit me up. What are you aiming toward for the rest of this year?
So just much more of the same of what I'm doing now. I think we've got some really exciting things for online. So obviously I've got my business online now because there was just like a bit of a demand for it. So focusing more on that, and just there's a lot of corporates and brands that want to work with me this year. Also got some travel overseas, which will be cool. Just more of the same, but I guess bigger and amplifying everything and expanding. It's exciting.
Any personal stuff that you said there.
Oh yeah, personal life. What's that?
Yeah, no, you said something interesting about self-love and stuff like that. You're not quite there yet. So that's something you're still working on, traveling toward.
Well, I think the thing is my personal life and my business is like this, right? It's not two separate things. And, you know, when something goes wrong in your business, it makes you look at yourself personally. So, like, obviously, right? But yeah, I mean, it's the never-ending journey of just liking yourself more, having uncomfortable conversations, facing your emotions, facing your feelings, and just letting yourself know that you are enough with what you do or don't have. I think it's staying grounded. I want to stay grounded. I want to stay humble. I want to stay centered, and I want to remember that,
you know, love and presence and family and friends is like just, that's like, that is the most important thing, you know? It's like coming back and remembering, finding that balance, as you were saying, go over here and then back here. Just want to be as present as I can. Because, yeah, we're not here for that long. Like, we're actually not. It's kind of weird, you know?
Make the most of it.
Make the most of your life.
Eddie, beautiful place to leave it. I hope this conversation hasn't been too uncomfortable.
No, loved
Thank
it.
you very much for coming in for a chat.